So when she's saying in public, she's on the.
They're always on a leash and collar in public. They're always on a leash. When we do work in the house, they're on a leash and collar.
Okay, so, but,
Here, come here.
like, I thought you meant like strangers coming into the house when the dog was loose, is what I thought you were saying, and she was fine.
When we have people, when we do scenarios when the dogs are at the door, kennel, that's where we practice kennel downstairs. They're on a leash and collar. And they're e-collar. If they're e-collar dogs.
Yeah.
That way I can reinforce the behavior. Think about it. If I tell her to kennel down, stay, and I can't do anything to affect that, what do you think the dog learns? I don't have to do what you say.
Right.
So for a 4-year-old dog, what we've done is remove any other option but the one. What's that one option? You do what I say.
Right.
Okay? I'm not doing it forcefully, but I am using force. You see what I'm saying? We're changing the way she thinks about her world. Attrition in practice is going to teach her this is no longer a choice that I can make. And in a situation where we have all these tools available, if she chooses to make that decision, we can correct her or punish her effectively as a result of her poor choice. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And that's very important, especially when you have a dog of this mass, okay? And the thing is, though, is the funny thing, like I said, she's not an aggressive dog. She's a confused dog, okay? Her whole life has been spent believing this is how I act because she's never learned an appropriate alternative, okay? And it's not like you guys have deliberately done anything wrong. People don't go out of their way to mess up their dogs, okay? You're people, she's a dog, Mars, Venus, okay? So basically, as far as she's concerned, I react this way because this is the way I've reinforced myself to react, okay? Intervention is a timing event. It's not, what you're doing is wrong, or here, let me show you how to do this instead. If you do nothing else, if your timing is impeccable, you can still train it up, okay? But basically, that timing event, come here, sweetheart, here. Good. Nope, here. Sit. This is both the beginning and the middle and the end. So I'm going to continue to apply pressure. Sit. All the way. Thank you. Good girl. All right. But basically, when I intervene in the behavior, when I reinforce the behavior, when I punish the behavior. Everything in dogs, everything in communication with dogs happens in threes. Okay? When we actually start introducing a behavior, okay, we're actually physically showing the dog. We're manipulating the dog in some way, okay? We are coercing that behavior, all right? When we actually start teaching or putting that behavior on cue, phase 2, okay? The expectation becomes sit. No, come here. You're getting kind of stiff, Here. Sit. Good. Very good. Okay. We're going to let you take a break now. Okay. But basically, when you start actively teaching the behavior, take it up. We're removing all of those extraneous cues. So when I go to mold the sit behavior, leash up, butt down, 150, 200 times, before I ever make the expectation the dog will do it on its own.
Right.
So before I even say sit and pair it with that behavior, the dog has already sat a bunch of times, dozens and dozens of times. So then when I enact certain visual cues, bending, leash up, butt down, the dog already knows what's coming next. Then I say sit.
Right.
Okay? After the teaching phase is the proofing phase. Okay? So at which time I tell the dog to sit with expectations in more increasingly difficult scenarios. Sit when there's dogs present. Sit when there's cars present. Sit when there's people present. Sit when people are approaching you. Sit when people are retreating from you. All kinds of things. So the dog understands and generalizes sit behavior must occur whenever it's requested. It's not whenever she feels like it. Okay, so that's the three things. There's the introduction, the teaching, and the proofing. Okay? In dog language, well, not necessarily dog language, but as far as the dog's concerned, these things only accompany, or these things are only present under certain circumstances behaviorally. Okay? We practice what they call escape. Okay? In order for the dog to escape the physical manipulation, the dog has to sit.
Right.
Which is introduction. In order for the... Did I just see that?
see
Was
what.
that a power surge? I'm seeing things. Right?
Just might be.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
Could've been.
Oh, my glasses.
It
the,
happens. It happens.
the other thing is once we go to teaching phase, it's actually the process that the dog understands or interprets as what they call avoidance. So I'm going to project that when A is present, B must also exist. In order for you to avoid that happening, you're going to beat that correction and do it quicker. Okay? And proofing is punishment, which goes back to escape. I'm going to give you the opportunity to engage in this behavior. I'm going to tell you to do it one time. I'm not going to apply leash pressure. I'm not going to apply leash pressure or e-collar pressure. If you sit, your life is great. If you don't sit, I'm going to punish you
Right.
until you sit. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? So it's the same with when you teach any skill, there are 3 Ds. Okay? There is distance, duration, distraction. Okay? Which over the course of time, you're introducing each of these different things either one at a time or in some circumstances simultaneously. But the end result is 2 more Ds, degree of difficulty. So in compilation, all 3 of those things for one specific set of skill is teaching the dog multiple things simultaneously. You do it hard, you do it fast, you do it for as long as I need you to do it. Make sense? Okay? So what she needs to understand now is, like I said, even 3 weeks, okay, although it seems like a long time, it's not.
Right.
We're compounding about 12 different skills onto a dog who, for the most part, has been pretty much able to escape every single one of the consequences for failure
Right.
for a long time. So what we're teaching her is, without creating more personal conflict, is there is no way to escape this. You have to do it. Does that make sense? But we're doing it in such a way, yes, I know. We're doing it in such a way that it's not, it's not arousing the dog, we're frustrating the dog. We're making very clear examples. Do this, this goes away. Do this, this occurs. Do this, this goes away. Do this, this occurs. So it helps her to understand how the process works.